Meet Tajimamori, Japan's god of sweets, whose legendary quest for immortality became one of mythology's most bittersweet tales. When Emperor Suinin fell gravely ill, he gave Tajimamori an impossible mission: journey to Tokoyo no Kuni, magical land of immortality, bring back the Tojiku no Kagu no Konomi, a mysterious fruit that grant eternal life and youth. For 10 long years, Tajimamori searched through the otherworldly realm until he finally found the sacred Tachibana oranges. He returned triumphant, the branches bearing both leaves and fruit, only to discover heartbreaking news. Emperor Suinin had already died. Overcome with grief, Tajimamori gave half the magical fruit to the emperor's widow and placed the other half at his tomb as an offering. Then, wailing with unbearable sadness, he died of a broken heart. This tragic devotion transformed Tajimamori into the god of sweets and confections. Today he's honored at Nakashima Shrine, reminding us that the sweetest things in life often come from the deepest sacrifices. Meet Kunjin, one of Japan's most feared directional deities whose very presence makes certain directions deadly to travelers. This powerful kami consistently moves through the compass, changing positions with the year, lunar month, and season, and wherever Kunjin goes, danger follows. Ancient Japanese lived in terror of this deity. Kunjin is said to be particularly violent and punishes those who violate directional taboos through devastating curses. The belief in 7 deaths of Kunjin warned that traveling in the wrong direction could result in the death of up to 7 close relatives. This wasn't just superstition, it shaped entire lives. The Heian nobility were obsessed with directional taboos, carefully planning when to build houses, move residence, or even travel based on Kunjin's ever-changing location, take elaborate detours to avoid the cursed direction. But here's the fascinating twist. In the 1800s, a farmer named Bunjiro Kawate claimed Kunjin appeared to him not as a malevolent force, but as a compassionate deity who wanted to help humanity. This revelation transformed Kunjin from a feared curse-bringer into a benevolent kanko, founding an entire new religion. Sometimes the most feared powers can become the most loving guides. Meet the Sumiyoshi Sanjin, a trio of sea gods who've been guiding Japanese sailors for over 1,000 years. Their names are Sokotsutsu no O, Nakatsutsu no O, and Uatsutsu no O, meaning bottom tube man, middle tube man, and surface tube man, representing the 3 layers of the ocean. These powerful deities were born from one of mythology's most dramatic moments. When Izanagi returned from his horrific journey to the underworld of Yomi, he desperately needed purification. As he washed himself in the sea to cleanse away the pollution of death, the 3 Sumiyoshi gods emerged from the sacred waters. Here's the fascinating connection. Ancient navigators may have seen these 3 deities as the stars of Orion's belt. Those 3 bright stars were crucial for maritime navigation, and sailors would look to them for guidance across dangerous waters. The Sumiyoshi Sanjin became legendary when they helped Empress Jingu in her conquest of Korea, proving their power extends beyond just safe sailing to military victory. Their main shrine, Sumiyoshi Taisha in Osaka, has been protecting seafarers for centuries. Today they remind us that sometimes the most powerful guidance comes in groups, working together to navigate life's stormy seas. Meet Sukana Bikona, the dwarf deity whose name means small lord of renown. And boy did he live up to that title. This tiny god revolutionized ancient Japan by bringing the gifts of medicine, agriculture, and sake brewing to humanity. Sukana Bikona arrived in Izumo riding in a tiny boat made of bark, dressed entirely in goose skins. When the giant god, Okuni Nunushi, picked up this mysterious little stranger, Sukuna Bikona immediately bit him on the cheek, but instead of getting angry, they became best friends. Despite his tiny size and slow movements, this dwarf god knew everything in the world. He partnered with Okuninushi to finish building the central reed plain, teaching humans how to heal diseases, grow abundant crops, and brew sacred sake. Sukuna Bikona became the patron of hot springs, bringing healing waters to the people. His wisdom and magic were so profound that many Japanese folk tales about dwarves and fairies trace back to his legend. Today, he reminds us that the smallest among us can carry the greatest wisdom, and sometimes a good bite gets you the best friendships. Meet Tsunuguhi, one of Japan's most ancient primordial deities whose name means horn-sprouting god. Part of the legendary 7 divine generations, he emerged when heaven and earth were first formed. Tsunuguhi belongs to the 4th generation of the Kami Nanenyo, the 7 generations of kami who appeared after creation itself. He was married to his younger sister, Ikuguhi, the life-sprouting goddess. Together, this divine couple represented cosmic forces of growth and establishment, the horned power that stakes claim, new territory, and the life force that makes it flourish. These ancient gods came before the famous Izanagi and Izanami, meaning Tsunaguhi helped create the very foundations upon which Japan would eventually be built. Today, Tsunaguhi reminds us that every great creation begins with invisible foundations. Meet Shinatsuhiko, the long-blowing lad, whose birth story is one of mythology's most poetic moments. Picture this. After Izanagi and Izanami finished creating the 8 great islands of Japan, morning mist obscured their beautiful new land. Izanagi looked upon the foggy landscape and simply blew at the mist to clear it away. That divine breath became Shinatsuhiko, the god of wind. Shinatsuhiko has an alternate name, Shinatobe, who may have been originally a separate wind goddess. This suggests that Japan's wind worship evolved over time, with male and female wind deities eventually merging into one complex figure. As one of the oldest Shinto deities, Shinatsuhiko represents the fundamental force that clears away obstacles and brings clarity to the world. Every breeze carries his essence, from gentle morning winds to powerful storm gusts. Today, Shinatsuhiko reminds us that sometimes the most powerful forces come from the simplest actions. Even a breath can become the wind that moves the world. Meet Kushinada Hime, the last surviving daughter of loving parents, whose love story with Susanoo became one of Japan's most famous rescue tales. She's the goddess who transformed tragedy into triumph. Heartbreakingly, her parents, Ashinazuchi and Tennazuchi, were weeping by a river because the monstrous 8-headed serpent Yamata no Orochi had devoured 7 of their 8 daughters. Now it was time for their final child, beautiful Kushinada Hime, to be sacrificed. Just then, right in the nick of time, the banished storm god Susanoo appeared. Struck by her beauty and moved by the family's plight, he offered to kill the monster, but only if they would give him Kushinada Hime as his wife. Her parents eagerly agreed. He quickly started the battle. And to keep her safe during said battle, Susanoo transformed Kushinada Hime into a comb and tucked her into his hair. He then got the serpent drunk on sake and sliced it to pieces, discovering the legendary sword Kusanagi in its tail. After the victory, Susanoo transformed her back and built a palace in Izumo, where they married. Their wedding inspired Japan's first recorded poem, making Kushinada Hime not just a rescued princess, but the muse of Japanese poetry itself. This story may be heartbreaking, but it's also a message about the value of life and how parents would do anything for their children. Meet Sendai Myojin, Japan's divine protector of athletes and sports, whose name means Sacred Great Shining Deity. This unique kami proves that even the most modern activities have ancient spiritual guardians watching over them. Sendai Myojin is enshrined at Shiramine Shrine in Kyoto, where he's particularly revered as the guardian deity of Hemari, an elegant ancient court ball game that involved keeping a leather ball airborne using only feet, knees, and hips, no hands allowed. Kemari was considered more art than sport, emphasizing grace, cooperation, and athletic beauty over competition. Players wore elaborate court costumes and aimed for harmony rather than victory. Sendai Myojin embodied these refined ideas. But this ancient deity's influence didn't stop just in the past. As ball games evolved into modern soccer and other ball sports, Sendai Myojin's divine protection expanded too. Today, famous athletes from across Japan visit Shiramine Shrine to pray for victory and donate game balls in gratitude. From medieval courtly elegance to World Cup dreams, Sendai Myojin reminds us that the spirit of play connects all generations and that even our games deserve divine blessing. Meet Kuzuryu, the 9-headed dragon whose transformation from feared monster to beloved guardian is one of Japan's most powerful redemption stories. This ancient deity rules over lakes and rivers across Japan. During the Nara period, a terrifying 9-headed dragon settled in Lake Ashi in Hakone, demanding human sacrifices, one young girl every year. The villagers lived in terror, selecting victims by shooting white feathered arrows. Then came the holy priest Mangang, who possessed divine power from Hakone Shrine's deity. Instead of simply destroying the dragon, he did something remarkable. He exorcised its evil nature and transformed it into a guardian deity. The dragon became Kuzuryu Shin, protector of Lake Ashi. This transformation from destroyer to protector reflects Buddhism's influence on Japanese Shinto mythology. Dragons were originally feared water spirits, but when Buddhism arrived, they became defenders of the Dharma. Today, Kuzuryu Shrine sits on Lake Ashi's shores, where the reformed dragon deity grants blessings for water safety. Sometimes our greatest monsters can become our most powerful guardians. Meet Mizuhanome. The water goddess whose birth story might sound shocking, but represents one of Japan's most profound spiritual concepts. This deity of water was born from the urine of the dying creator goddess Izanami, but in Japanese mythology this isn't gross, it's sacred. After Izanami was mortally burned while giving birth to the fire god Kagutsuchi, her final bodily fluids became divine. From her tears, vomit, and urine sprang powerful deities, including Mizuhanome. This represents the ultimate transformation of suffering into blessing. Mizuhanome became the guardian of wells, irrigation water, and purification rituals. She controls both rainfall and the stopping of rain, making her essential for Japan's rice agriculture. Her role as protector of wells means she kept water sweet, cool, and safe to drink. You can find her enshrined at New Kawakami Shrine in Nara, alongside other water deities. Well cleaners particularly revere her, and she's honored in the annual purification rituals that keep Japan's water sources blessed. Mizuhanome teaches us that even from the most humble origins, divine power can flow, and that water is the most sacred gift for life.
Meet Oda Nobunaga, not just as the ruthless warlord who unified Japan, but as a deified kami worshipped at Shinto shrines. This transformation from historical figure to divine spirit shows how Japan honors those who shape its destiny. In 1869, Emperor Meiji issued an extraordinary imperial decree ordering the creation of Kenkun Shrine in Kyoto to worship Nobunaga as a kami. The emperor declared that Nobunaga had unified Japan and restored court rights, making him worthy of divine status 300 years after his death. Here's what makes this fascinating. Nobunaga actually tried to deify himself while alive, building Shokenji Temple at Azuchi Castle with a stone called Bonsan to replace him as an object of worship. Many saw this as dangerous arrogance, but history proved his divine ambitions weren't entirely wrong. Today, people pray to Nobunaga's spirit for ambition, business success, leadership, and protection from disaster. His main shrine sits on Mount Funaoka, one of Kyoto's 4 protective directions, where this former demon king now guards the ancient capital he once conquered. From destroyer of temples to enshrined deity, Nobunaga's transformation reminds us that even the most controversial figures can become divine protectors of the nation they helped create.
Meet Omono-imi no Kami, the powerful deity of Chokai who doesn't just live in the mountain, he is the mountain itself. This sacred volcano on the border of Akita and Yamagata has been worshipped since ancient times as a living god. What's most fascinating about this is that Omono-imi no Kami is considered identical to Toyouke Hime, the famous food goddess of Ise Shrine. But while she nourishes Japan with agriculture, he protects the northern border as a mighty volcanic deity. Mount Chokai is an active volcano, and every time it erupted throughout history, the people believed the deity's divine rank increased. The mountain marked the northern boundary of ancient Japan, standing as a sacred guardian against invasions. The main shrine sits right on the mountain's peak, where pilgrims climb to worship the deity in his natural form. Omono-imi no Kami teaches us that some deities don't just inhabit sacred places, they are the sacred places themselves. Meet Oyamatsumi, the mighty god of mountains, sea, and war, whose name means the great mountain divine spirit. Born from the fire god Kagutsuchi's corpse, he became one of Japan's most powerful primordial deities. His incredible story begins when Oyamatsumi had 2 daughters. First, Konohana Sakuya Hime was beautiful like cherry blossoms but fragile, while second, Yuanaga Hime was strong like eternal stone but plain. When Prince Ninigi wanted to marry only the beautiful daughter, Oyamatsumi warned him this choice would curse humanity with short, delicate lives instead of eternal strength. Ninigi ignored the warning, and that's why humans blossom beautifully but briefly, like cherry blossoms, rather than forever like rocks. Oyamatsumi's rejected daughter, Iwanagahime, the immortality that we lost through vanity. As the father of Mount Fuji's goddess, Oyamatsumi rules over Japan's sacred peaks. His main shrine on Omishima Island has collected samurai weapons for centuries, making it a treasure house of warrior history. Oyamatsumi teaches us that our choices between beauty and strength, the temporary and the eternal, shape not just our lives, the very nature of what it means to be human. Meet Toyotomi Hideyoshi, not just as the peasant who became ruler of Japan, but as the deified kami worshipped for success and wealth. His transformation from farmer's son to divine protector is Japan's ultimate rags to riches story, made sacred. In 1599, just 1 year after his death, Hideyoshi was enshrined at Toyokuni Shrine, Kyoto, as a kami. This was revolutionary, a man born into the lowest social class becoming a god worshipped by nobles and commoners alike. The shrine featured Japan's first ever tamaya, a Shinto altar specifically for ancestor worship. But there's a dramatic twist. When Tokugawa Ieyasu seized power, he ordered Hideyoshi's shrine closed in 1615, trying to erase his rival's divine status. For over 250 years, worshipping Hideyoshi was essentially banned under Tokugawa rule. The Meiji Emperor dramatically resurrected Hideyoshi's shrine in 1868, recognizing his role in unifying Japan. Today, people pray to Hideyoshi's spirit for career advancement, business success, and achieving the impossible, just like he did when he rose from rice farmer to Japan's supreme ruler. From forbidden deity to modern inspiration, Hideyoshi proves that true greatness can never be permanently erased, even by political enemies. Meet Prince Shokuto Taishi, not just as the legendary regent who brought Buddhism to Japan, but as the deified kami worshipped by craftsmen and expectant mothers. This transformation from historical prince to protective deity shows how Japan honors its cultural heroes. Shotoku Taishi was worshipped by Shintoists in special halls called Taishido, or Prince's Hall. But here's the fascinating twist. This scholarly prince who wrote Japan's first constitution became the kami of the building trade and easy childbirth. Now, you might be wondering why a prince would become a construction god. Shotoku built Japan's first major Buddhist temples, including the magnificent Horyuji, which still stands today as the world's oldest wooden building. His architectural legacy was so profound that carpenters, builders, and craftsmen claimed him as their divine patron. The easy childbirth connection might also seem strange, but Shotoku was famous for his wisdom and gentle nature. Just as he helped birth Japanese culture by introducing Buddhism and Chinese learning, he became the protector of mothers bringing new life into this world. From prince to kami, Shotoku Taishi proves that those who would build civilizations can become the gods who protect the people who continue their work. Meet Tokugawa Ieyasu, not just as the founder of Japan's longest-lasting shogunate, but as the deified kami known as Hosho Daigongen, Great Shining Light of the East. This transformation from warlord to worshipped deity shows how Japan honors its greatest leaders. 1 year after his death in 1616, Emperor Go-Mizuno granted Ieyasu the divine name Hosho Daigongen. His advisors debated what kind of deity he should become, ultimately deciding he would be worshipped as a Gongen, a Buddha manifested as a Shinto deity, bridging both religions perfect. Here's some strategic brilliance. Ieyasu was enshrined at Nikko, directly north of Edo, now modern-day Tokyo. Because this direction signifies power and protection in Japanese cosmology, as a kami, he became the divine guardian of the 8 Kanto provinces, watching over the very region his shogunate ruled. Today, over 100 Toshogu shrines across Japan enshrine Ieyasu as a protective deity. People pray to him for political stability, successful leadership, and protection from enemies. Same qualities that made him Japan's most successful unifier. From battlefield strategist to divine protector, Ieyasu proves that those who create lasting peace can become the gods who guard it forever. Meet Japan's most fearsome god of wealth and war. This is Bishamonten, one of Japan's 7 lucky gods, but he's unlike any other lucky deity you've ever seen. Clad in full armor and wielding a spear, he's the only warrior among these benevolent gods. Originally from Hindu-Buddhist tradition as Visaryavana, Bishamonten became the guardian of the north in Japanese mythology. His domains? War, wealth, and protection. He guards the divine treasure horse. That miniature pagoda he carries represents infinite riches that he bestows upon faithful believers. But here's what makes him most fascinating. He's both destroyer and protector. Warriors prayed to him before battle, while priests and healers sought his blessing. He crushes demons underfoot while simultaneously distributing wealth and good fortune. Today, you can still find Bishamonten shrines across Japan where people pray for both financial success and protection from evil. What other deity manages to be both your bodyguard and your bank? Subscribe for more Japanese mythology. Ever heard of a god who carries a magic hammer that grants wishes? Daikokuten, jovial god of wealth and one of Japan's 7 lucky gods. This smiling deity is instantly recognizable with his round belly, cheerful expression, and, most importantly, his magical golden mallet called Chide no Kozuchi. But this isn't just any hammer. Legend says when Daikokuten swings his mallet, it can literally manifest anything you desire. This is not an illusion, but true wealth, prosperity, good fortune. Just tap it and it appears. Many historians believe this deity came from the Hindu god Shiva. Daikokuten became Japan's ultimate prosperity deity. He's always depicted smiling on bags of rice with rats nearby. And before you think, ugh, ew, those rats are actually symbols of abundance. Their presence means there's so much food they can't eat it all. Farmers, merchants, and cooks all pray to him because he controls agriculture, commerce, and household prosperity. You'll find his figure in kitchens across Japan, blessing families with wealth and good harvests. So next time you need some financial luck, remember Daikokuten and his wish-granting hammer. Subscribe for more Japanese mythology. Meet Fukurokuju, god with the power to bring back people from the dead. One of Japan's 7 lucky gods, Fukurokuju is absolutely unique. Look at that elongated forehead. It's not just for show. That massive dome represents ultimate wisdom. He's the smartest deity in Japanese mythology. What makes him so legendary is Fukurokuju is the only god among the 7 lucky gods who can resurrect the dead. Talk about the ultimate life hack. His name literally means happiness, wealth, and longevity combined into one powerful deity. See that scroll tied to his staff? It contains either the lifespan of every person on Earth or magical scriptures. He walks with a crane and turtle, both symbols of incredible longevity, because this guy knows all the secrets to living forever. Originally a Chinese Taoist sage who achieved immortality, he became Japan's go-to god for wisdom and long life. People often confuse him with Juryojin because some legends say that they share the same body. So, if you need wisdom, wealth, longevity, or apparently need someone brought back to life, Fukurokuju is your guy. Subscribe for more Japanese mythology. Wait, this isn't actually Buddha. This is Hotei, and he's way more fun. Meet the most cheerful of Japan's 7 lucky gods, Hotei, also called the Laughing Buddha. But plot twist, he's not Buddha at all. He's based on a real Chinese Zen monk from the 10th century. That massive bag on his back contains infinite treasures. This jolly monk wandered from town to town pulling gifts and good fortune from his magical Nunobukuro for anyone in need, especially children who absolutely loved him. Just look at that belly. It's not just adorable, it represents pure happiness, contentment, and abundance. Rubbing Hotei's belly is said to bring incredible luck and joy into your life. He also carries a flat fan called an uchiwa that grants wishes. And unlike other serious gods, Hotei teaches that enlightenment comes from laughter and generosity, not strict discipline. So next time you see the fat Buddha in a restaurant or shop, remember you're actually looking at Hotei, Japan's god of happiness, who proves that the path to wisdom can be filled with joy and belly laughs. Wait a second. He's Japanese Santa Claus. Oh my god, he's Japanese Santa Claus. Fat Buddha. Hotei, he's Japanese Santa Claus. Oh my god! I've reached the end of my Shinto deity list. After months of creating videos about Japanese mythology, I think I've finally covered every major Shinto kami and some Buddhist ones that I'm aware of. From creation gods to nature spirits, storm deities to agricultural protectors, I've been diving deep into this incredible pantheon. But here's the reality. Shinto tradition includes includes literally thousands upon thousands of deities. We're talking about major gods worshipped at famous shrines across Japan, regional deities specific to certain areas, local village spirits, and even kami that protect individual trees, rocks, or mountains. The thing about Shinto is that almost anything in nature can be considered sacred and have its own spirit. Every prefecture, every mountain range, every significant natural landmark probably has its own kami that I've never heard of. So I desperately need your help. What Shinto deities do you think I missed? Are there regional kami from your area, local spirits with fascinating stories, obscure deities that deserve more attention? Drop all your suggestions in the comments below, and a massive thank to everyone who's subscribed and stuck with me. So seriously, help me out. What Shinto deities should I research next? Let's keep exploring this amazing mythology together.